Hi there, welcome to No Nonsense Whiskey. My name's Vin PF. On today's episode, we've got the March edition of the Whisky In, Whisky Out, your favourite and mine, where I literally run through the bottles that came through my door this month and the bottles that are ending up in the recycling bin. Now, as you might have seen on some of the social tweets that I've been making and whatnot, this is a huge month. I haven't even counted the bottles. I've got so many bottles in this month, mostly because I did my live stream recently where I did my monthly Roundtable where we did a blind tasting, so at least 5 of these bottles came in just for that, and then I've got my kind of normal bottles on top of that, and a relatively normal month for Whisky Out, as you'll see, just 4 bottles for that. But in any case, let's get straight into it and we'll see what we've got Whisky In. First one then, we've got a kind of relatively new release. This is the Spencer Collings exceptional quality blah blah blah. And this is celebrating Mike Collings' 50th anniversary, 50 years in the kind of whiskey marketing realm. Now, I will say, I mean, on the box, I've seen this criticised online, but on the box, the number 50 is quite large, which, I don't know, I mean, if you read the label, there's nothing here that's saying it's 50 years old, because it isn't. But actually, I'll show you this quickly. I'll bring this up when I do the review, but if you actually look at the bottle, it's a relatively small number in comparison to the rest of the bottle, which is just how we like it. But yeah, what we got there is a... not sure of the exact years, actually. It's a 2011, so it's probably going to be at least 10 years old. But this is a Mannochmore in a custom muscat cask at 59.6%. Fairly expensive. I think it's roughly 80 odd quid, but... I'm not going to lie to you, this is one of the best versions of Mannochmore I've ever tried. But that's because what these guys do with their casks, they're building custom casks, not a cheap way of making casks at all. And a lot of what makes whiskey expensive is the cask. So, yeah, I often say, when I talk about value, I often talk about stuff like that because it's important to understand why a whiskey could be expensive. Sometimes it's just expensive because the distillery or producer or whatever just puts a big old stamp on it. It's just a value thing, you know, they know they can sell it, so they do. But sometimes a whiskey is genuinely expensive because it costs a lot to make and the quality is there. That sort of thing. But I'll get into that when I do my proper review of that. Next up, we've got a bit of an odd one, actually. Henstone single malt, and this is their special release for the Southport Winter Whisky Festival in 2022. Now, again, I'll go through this in greater detail when I do my review of it, but this came my way. One of my Discord buddies, Jamie, he got it and didn't like it, so he said he was going to probably get rid of it, and I said, don't get rid of it, I'll swap you some stuff. And we were going to swap bottles, but in the end I sent him a sample pack and a bunch of samples in exchange for it. And his loss, because I quite like it, and it's weird. It's weird in a good way. I've said this about Henstone before. They're making things. They're not trying to replicate their cousins up north. They're trying to do their own thing. They've got their own kind of beer that they can add into whatever wash, whatever. I need to visit them to find out more about what exactly they do. But their whiskey is not typical, let's say, and all the pleasure for it, because I quite enjoy it. But I imagine that something like that would be chalk and cheese to some people. All right, next up then we've got the brand new Glasgow 1770 small batch series Manzanilla Sherry Cask, which, you know, I'm all for it. Now, there's an interesting story that comes with this about whether I would have picked this or not, but I'll do that when I do my review of it. That'll probably be next week, to be honest, because I'm a big fan of Glasgow 1770, and when they do these small batch releases, there's so few bottles left that I want to try and get the review out to give you guys a chance to get it. But I will say, if you like Glasgow 1770, you're gonna love this. You're gonna love all of their new releases. I think you would have just seen I've covered the other 2 in a sample Saturday, so go back and check that if you're interested. But it's a pretty sweet drop. It's a pretty sweet drop, and classically priced for Glasgow 1770. They're not doing things cheaply, but they're kind of valuing their whiskey at an affordable rate, which I really do appreciate. All right, next one then. I have reviewed this already. This is That Boutique Whiskey Company 26-year-old Ben Nevis. I am humbled by this one because this is by far the most expensive bottle that will ever grace my collection. And I've made that clear in my review of it. You can go back and check this video. I do implore you to go and check it out because it's one of those ones where you're really just going to get my thoughts on it. I don't make any kind of bones about going to buy this because this is going to be out of reach of most people watching this, I imagine. It's just too expensive. It's just too expensive. But as I mentioned on that video as well, it would be crazy to assume that all whiskey should be available to us. You know, there is so much whiskey that is out of my buying power, and it's just how it is. Unfortunately, there is plenty that is well within it. So I'm humbled and a lucky boy to be able to have this bottle, and it will get nursed. And I don't think you'll be seeing this on a Whisky Out anytime soon. But you know, you might find that we're surprised on that. But go and check out my review of that because it's truly exceptional. If completely out of the realms of me ever buying it, should I not have been doing this channel. Okay. Moving on then, we've got a couple of Tomintoul's. In fact, let's do them the other way around for numbers' sake. We've got a Tomintoul 14-year-old. This is the Cognac Cask Finish 2019 limited edition. I'm really getting into my Tomintoul's. Something I've said constantly on this channel is that previously I would have said something ludicrous like I chase flavour. And by that, I used to mean things like high ABVs, weird cask finishes, whatnot. Now, I found myself, although I still enjoy that, I found myself coming back around to classically ABV'd whiskey, you know, low 40s to 46%, which what this one is, and just coming back to Scotch is the honest thing. There was a time when I really went into my bourbons hard, and availability has kind of seen that off for me a little bit. I still love my bourbons, don't get me wrong, but Scotch is just so much more available to me right now. Going into another Tomintoul. And here we've got the 15-year-old Madeira cask finish. This is the 2008 edition. So two great quality whiskies, two different cask finishes, two interesting things, and reviews that will be coming up fairly soon, I would imagine. Yeah, okay, so that's the stuff I got properly in. But as I mentioned earlier, I did my Roundtable blind tasting. If you haven't seen that live stream, please do go and watch it because it was a really good one. People have been liking it. And what I did was I curated a blind tasting that was designed to be surprisingly cheap. I put as my kind of theme on the end of that because there were things I had to buy, so they had to be relatively cheap to be able to afford to buy them and then to ship out sets to the guys who are taking part for free. So yeah, we had the black bottle. This is the 10-year-old. And I should say as well, because I mean you can't see from this one, but I'll show you in a minute. I've got such little amount left of these bottles that I'll probably try to review them pretty quickly, and then I imagine they'll be back on Wee Woo anytime soon because all of these were about. I mean, this one here is 25 quid, and the most expensive one was 42, I want to say. So they're all in the guard whiskey realms of possibility. But although this one didn't score particularly well in comparison to the rest of them, everyone agreed that it's stunning value for 25 quid. Next up then, we had the Murray McDavid Cask Craft Marsala Finish Barrique Cask from Croftengea. A bit of a mouthful. Now this is a new range from Murray McDavid where they're doing no age statement whiskies finished in I want to say weird casks, but all different kinds of casks from a lot of the distilleries that they've got available. Now, I bought this one for the blind tasting on a whim. I hadn't tried it before, but I do like Croftengea, and I do like. Is it Croftengea or Croftengea? I've always said Gia, but I heard Roy on the stream say Gia a couple of times. I don't think anyone probably cares, but yeah, let me know if you think it's a G, a G as in game, Croftengea or Croftengea, like a J almost. I guess I'm answering my own question there. Anyway, let me know in the comments below what you think it should be. Yeah, I bought it on a punt, and it's smoky, it's sweet. I really like this, and it was so cheap. You know, it's in that 30 quid kind of margin. But they've got loads of different versions of this that are worth checking out of this in the Cask Craft, not of the Croftengea. So yeah, well worth checking out that range, just in case there's something in there you might enjoy. Next up, we had this is the Master of Malt Indiana 3-year-old wheated bourbon from an undisclosed Indiana distillery, but MGP is bound to be. Now, this was 30 quid dead on. And I will say, it's probably going to take me a little while to get around to reviewing this. I will review it as soon as I can. But my God, if you like bourbon and you like cheap bourbon, just buy it. Please just buy this. You know, you don't even have to use my affiliate links, which are below. You know, just go on there and just buy it, because it's great if you do use the affiliate links, because obviously I get a little kickback and they can see that the orders are coming through from me. But I genuinely don't care about that. It's if you would prefer just to go direct to them, do it, because it's not stunning whiskey, but it's great for its price. And out of all of the scores that came through on that blind tasting, this one scored the highest. I know a few people bought it off the back of it. So it's single cask, and once it's gone, it's gone. What was it? 434 bottles. So it's not like small, but yeah, it's I do recommend it. This one here is the GlenCadam Reserva Andalucia. You might have just seen that I've covered the Reserva PX. So I'll try and get to this one as soon as I can, because as you can see, look, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, there's nothing left in that. And as I always say, when whiskey gets below the label, it goes in the kill queue. So I'm going to have to cover it pretty quickly. Maybe I'll move up to 2 reviews a week just to get through these quicker, because I don't want these to go to waste, and nor do I want to drink them before I review them, because that would be bad form. Finally then, huge this month, we've got the 8-year-old Canadian corn from That Boutique Whiskey Company, part of their core range, and this is Canadian whiskey in a sherry cask. A lot of them were somewhat sherry influenced, which is an interesting one. This is superb, absolutely superb, really good value. Their new core range of 5 bottles, some were really good value and some were a little bit expensive for what I wanted to do. I did do a tasting of all of these in sample form, which I'll drop a link below if you're interested in that. But again, just like the Indiana one, this one scored very highly, second in place on the blind tasting. Spoiler alert if you were going to go and watch that. But highly recommended. Okay, that's the Whisky In. Big month. Let's check out the Whisky Outs in any order, and we'll do a little bit of a mini review on these. First one then. I tried not to finish this, but I kept reaching for it. This is the Spearhead from Loch Lomond. An interesting one, because although it's a single grain, it's 100% malted barley, but it's done in a coffee still, and they used infrared to toast the barrels, which is, I mean, I don't know how much difference that made, but fine, whatever. This is quintessential guard whiskey. It's so good for its price, like 34 quid. It did its job. I kept reaching for it instead of other things, but I'm a bit gutted that it's gone. Beautiful bottle. We really enjoyed this. I can't recommend this enough. It's genuinely good. If you were looking at this, and this is a true story now, it passed me by originally because I saw it. I only saw the word Spearhead. I didn't look into it. I didn't know it was Loch Lomond, and I was like, nah. It just seemed in my head. It seemed like another blended whiskey maybe I don't know if that's the marketing or whatnot, but yeah, that's how it came across to me. Then when I finally tried it, stunning, absolutely stunning. So don't let yourself be led by misconceptions, as I always say. We've got a Glasgow in and a Glasgow out. So here's the Glasgow 1717. This one here is the red wine ruby port cask finish, peated, triple distilled. Loads going on here. So it's a 4-year-old whiskey, which is insane. It was so good. 57.5%. You guys know that I like Glasgow, and I recommend them. Always recommend them. This was a good whiskey. Again, check out my review of that, because it was good. It wasn't the best they've ever done, but I really enjoy it when they do peated with interesting stuff. Moving on then, we've got the Heroes and Heretics stateside, and this is the Heaven Hill 11 years. Not sure how much this was going for. I think it was fairly expensive, about 50-60 quid, something like that, maybe a bit more. But this is brilliant. I really enjoyed this, as with their other stateside they did. Hopefully they're going to do more. But again, this one, I mean, like I said, my usual rule is to get below the label, but here there would have been absolutely nothing left. So pretty much when this got down to like a third, it went into the kill queue, despite me having very little bourbons right now, and it was gone. Interestingly, it says truly American whiskey rather than bourbon. I can't remember why. I think I covered that on the video, but I didn't go back and check the reasons why, but I think it pretty much is. Finally then, we've got the In the Welsh Wind McMera 8-year-old. Now this was the first collaboration with In the Welsh Wind, which are a distillery that I'm very much enjoying right now. They're just about to release their first single malt, if they can call it a single malt, whatever. They're releasing their first whiskey. It's made in ice still, with some green barley, so they might have to call it something funky. But and as many of you will know, I actually own a cask of theirs that will be bottled probably next year or the year after. So when they released a kind of collaboration with McMera, they've done this, the 8-year-old, and they've done the Gruv Gold, both of which I've covered again, links below. But this was really good. I tried my hardest to keep my mitts off of it, but again, the rule kicked in, it got to below the label, it went in the kill queue, and thus it is on Whisky In, Whisky Out. There you go. Absolutely huge month. As always, if you made it this far in the video, thumbs up and all that lot. But what I really want to know is, as always, is let me know what you bought this month and what you've killed this month, because it's always a good talking point. I always love to see how people's collections are fluxing and what your buying habits are at the moment, because that helps me. If I know what people are buying, it helps me kind of recalibrate what I might look at for the channel, and it gets me a big picture of whiskey as it is. I know last month, January, February, there was very much diminished whiskey buying in the comments, because people were obviously reeling after Christmas, trying hard not to drink as much and trying hard not to buy as much. And if that's happening for you, again, let me know. But as I always say, open house in the comments below. Let me know anything you want to do. Or, of course, you can email me, vin@nononsensewhiskey.com, and we'll have a chat about whatever, and join the Discord. All that kind of cool stuff. But in any case, hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know what you want me to review next, and I'll see you again on more videos coming soon. Cheers.